I imagine Darwin inviting me to his house on Great Marlborough Street for a drink and a conversation. I'm flattered. I hardly know him. I've only seen him across the room in the club we both belong to. Why has he asked me to his home? We sit at his fireplace, making male chit-chat, trying to dispel the awkwardness. He asks me how my week has been. Fine, I answer. He wants to know what I'm working on. I tell him I'm writing a book on decision-making. How providential, he responds. He'd heard as much from friends at our club. He confesses that he's been struggling with a decision. I smile, relaxing now that I understand why he has invited me over. I take a sip from the glass of Lafroig he set at the small table next to the high-backed armchair embracing me. I stay silent. I want to give him a chance to open up. With some unease, he passes me a piece of paper. At the top I see the heading, "This is the question." I take my time, struggling with Darwin's bad handwriting and fighting the urge to say something. I stare into the fire, trying to decide how to respond. Should I tell him about Franklin's moral algebra in his letter to Priestley? Franklin was good friends with Darwin's grandfather, Erasmus. Darwin's father visited Franklin in Paris. Maybe Franklin's approach and the family history will appeal to him. But I worry that Franklin will lead Darwin astray, so I decide not to mention it. Finally, it's Darwin who breaks the silence. He wants to know what I think. I look up from the fire. I sense his discomfort. And being a mere economist in the presence of a scientific giant, I hesitate. This is the man who on his voyage on the HMS Beagle filled 770 pages in his diary, took 1,750 pages of notes, and catalogued 5,436 skins, bones, and carcasses, who studied barnacles for 8 years, who did a 29-year experiment on earthworms for his last scientific project, the formation of vegetable mold through the action of worms, with observations on their habits. While perhaps not a page-turner, I suspect it was a pretty thorough empirical study of worms and their behavior. How do I tell Charles Darwin that he hasn't gathered enough data? Like all of us, Darwin was in the dark about the future. And worse, like all of us facing a wild problem, Darwin was also in the dark about how much darkness surrounded him. In her book, Transformative Experience, L.A. Paul uses the choice to become a vampire as a metaphor for the big decisions that are the focus of this book. Before you become a vampire, you can't really imagine what it will be like. Your current experience doesn't include what it's like to subsist on blood and sleep in a coffin when the sun is shining. Sound dreary? But most, maybe all, of the vampires you meet speak quite highly of the experience. Surveys of vampires reveal a high degree of happiness. But will it be good for you, the actual you and not some average experienced by others, a flesh and blood human being who will live the experience in real time? Ah, different question. You have no data on that one. And the only way to get that data is to take the leap of faith, or in this case, anti-faith, maybe, into vampire world. Once you've made the leap and find you don't care for an all-liquid, heavy-on-the-hemoglobin diet, you can't go back. One of the weirdest parts of the decision, as Paul points out, is that once you become a vampire, what you like and what you dislike change. As a human, you might find narcissism repugnant, but vampires find narcissism refreshing and look back on their humbler, non-vampire selves with disdain for their humility. Which you should you consider when deciding what's best for you? The current you, or the you will become? It sounds silly, but it's not that different from a lot of wild problems we face. Whether to get married or have children or join a religion or leave the religion you grew up with. Many decisions involve burning bridges, crossing into a new experience that will change you in ways you can't imagine, including what you care about and what brings you joy or sorrow, sweetness or sadness, sunshine or shade. The photographer Jessica Todd Harper describes becoming a parent in her luminous collection of family photographs in her book, The Home Stage. I had entered into an alternate and strange world, a world predicated by our children. I wondered what exactly I had cared about so much before I had them.